Boom. Now we're here. Question always is, how did we get here? How did we get here, right? Talking with a friend of mine, colleague, entrepreneur himself, actually talking about how did we get here. Memory just popped up on my Facebook 4 years ago. We were here Friday Night Lights, talking about a crew, Lipsy, Kelsey Keel, Diamond State. It was a crew. So we've been around each other for a little bit. We may not talk often, but I think we're on the same wavelength. We're doing a lot of the similar things. And how do we get here? We're both in the middle of a pandemic. Gyms are shut down. Real quick, who are we talking to?
This is Marco.
Marco, what's Marco do?
Man, I'm a gym owner here in Havertown, PA. We're actually not too far apart, actually. We're fairly close, distance-wise, demographic-wise. But they are talking to a guy who's that we're walking in the same shoes, where we have the same mindset, we have the same commonality, goals, whatever you want to call it, man. It's just, we're all on the same page, man. And you're talking to a guy here that that wants to connect, that wants to build, that wants to spread positive vibes, man.
Yeah. And that's what we're here for. That's what this whole idea is. That's what this platform is. It's just like, I want to hear your side. I want to hear your story. And the fact that we're going through things, no matter what that might be, but we got something to talk about. We got something to talk about. First things, this pandemic, coronavirus, health issue, shut us down. 3 months.
Yep.
3 months, our gyms have been closed. What did that look like for you? How'd you get that news, and how'd you move on, and how'd you sustain?
So I want to start it off because this is how I'm approaching to where we are now. But going back to that, the first thing I wanted to do was I took a breath. I thought about the situation thoroughly, about whether if it's how the virus actually works, thought about how myself, the people that I'm surrounded with, family, my members, how they thought about it and how they perceived it. And I thought about what could this look like if it was going to take off the way. Now, if I give you honest, I never had been, we'll say, quote unquote, scared or had any fear, because my mindset is a very resilient mindset. And the thing is, though, not many people have that. Not many people approach things. And there are people realistically that have to react a certain way about this. But what I didn't want to do is I didn't want to be too quick with how I was going to make a decision. Now, essentially what happened was, obviously the state took in, and we had to make a decision to shut down. And, what can we do? What can we control? So I looked at this as, one, what can I take from this in a positive way? Because at the moment when that hit us, man, it was just wildfire. There were opinions left and right. There was negativity left and right. There were so many factors where it was almost like coronavirus was just deconnecting people in a way where it didn't seem like it was going on a good path. But I stayed in my lane, and I said, you know what, man, first I had to make my members happy. I lent out equipment. I set up an online platform. I did things in a positive way that I never would have done before this. Like, I learned to take things to a different platform, where a little bit out of my comfort zone, right? Doing things online that could be a whole nother avenue down the road in business that I could build upon, right? And then we had things where I learned to connect with people in such a different way, like doing, daily or weekly Zoom community calls where we just hop on, we talk about problems, we talk about solutions, we talk about mindset. And there were so many things that were going on. I just felt like I wanted to create the mindset of opportunity to my members. So they really absorbed that really well. And it's been nothing but actually positive things, man. I'm very fortunate where business-wise, like I didn't have to go through a struggle because, I obviously lent out equipment, provided out other resources, but the loyalty of the members in my community, my gym, and overall around were very supportive. And I was, able to continue business fairly well for, these past few months. But now, before all this happened the past, week to 2 weeks, like I was already on a track to like, what's my reopening process going to look like? Because people do need that interaction, man. People need to be in that gym. They need to feel something more than just like that fitness.
Right. Nah, and that's the community. I think that's gonna be a good segue into the meat of what we're gonna talk about today. But like you said, it hit, and as you spoken earlier, we're very similar in the sense of there wasn't much time where I got scared. It was immediately, how can I adapt? How fast can I provide a service and continue to bring value to my people? And boom, we closed on Monday. Tuesday morning, I didn't know what a Zoom was. I held a meeting with my Monday night, right? So the talks are happening all Monday morning. I orchestrated a small meeting. I had a little town hall meeting Monday night, and my yoga instructor told me about this Zoom thing, and it was just like, I've used this before. Here it is. 8 o'clock the next morning, I had 6 people on a Zoom call. So it was like, and that's the idea. I feel like it's a message I've always tried to get across with my Facebook videos, with this podcast. It's just like, how fast can you change the conversation in your head? How fast can you turn a negative into a positive? And this situation was a great practice for myself and you, just hearing you talk, and you adapted very well. Clearly a passion of yours is the community. I'm seeing a new passion in holding the community together, not just inside your four walls, but as a worldwide, countrywide CrossFit as a whole. I feel like you're taking a lead and being a voice. What is that?
Oh man, very
backstory, right? So obviously, if we're not paying attention, there's
Go ahead.
in the midst of coronavirus, we get hit with some racial tension in this country. Mm-hmm. With that, some things were said from some higher ups, our CEO of CrossFit. Some people don't understand that CrossFit is a business, is a brand of its own that we pay affiliation into to be able to associate ourselves with, right? We got our head guy, CEO, says a tweet that is taken away to a big group of people and offends a lot of people. And it turns our world upside down. There's a small division. There's lots of, I said it myself, disaffiliation. Like, I'm seeing you on the other end. It's like, hold on. And I'm on your team. I'm on your team, right? How can we fix this as a whole? How can we fix this as a community? Think about what CrossFit is for us, myself included. CrossFit has provided a lot for me. CrossFit has allowed me to start my own business. CrossFit has allowed me to build my own brand in the community. CrossFit, I've seen come together and hold families together.
That 4 years ago, bro, with us in that gym, that was CrossFit.
That was CrossFit. I listened to our friend Sin Martinez speak. He said, for that 5 minutes, nothing matters, right? Mm-hmm. For that moment, for those moments, for that hour in the gym, it didn't matter what political party you were on, what race you were, how big you were, what your abilities were, if you were a top level athlete or this was your first day in the gym. CrossFit provided a space for us to be free. And it's been disrupted in the last week or so because of the comments of one man.
Right.
I saw a 10-step or 10-point thing that you recently put out. Speak on that, because I was really into that, and I want to have that.
I will. I want to speak on that. And real quick, man, you started this podcast and you said, we're here now. How do we get here? I want to start with that, man, because I want to just go through a quick process. That name CrossFit started from a man. That CrossFit was essentially a method. That method grew into people. Those people grew into more people. Those people grew into gyms. Those gyms kept growing. It got loud. It got clear. It turned into a gym, I know, in Westchester. I find myself at 5 a.m. riding my bike from my dorm room to this gym to go try out a class. No heads up. I get there for the 6 a.m. class. 6:03, I'm walking down these stairs. Now, I'm clearly a different color, right? All these things. I don't want to put any race and stuff in it, but I'm clearly a different person. Mm-hmm. They're a very well business where they have protocols so you can't just walk in. But I walk down these stairs, man, and there's this guy, Jim. He looks at me. He's like, "What are you doing here?" I said, "I'm here for a class. I heard about CrossFit. I want to try." Man, he just said, "You know what? Hop right in, man. I'm doing this workout, and next thing you know, man, I'm looking to my left, and there's this 46-year-old guy, man. He's trying to help me out. He's next to me. He's doing the same work as me. And I see all these other people around me, and I'm loving the workout. I'm feeling great. And next thing you know, man, I'm feeling a sense of commonality. I'm feeling a sense of together. I'm feeling a sense of fitness, obviously. And that became a process because of obviously that word that became a method, became a community, became something. And because of that, I am extremely loyal to that in my heart, in a heart sense, not in the sense of those 10 reasons why, which I'll go into, but in a sense in my heart where there's an emotional attachment to that, man. And just like you were talking about, and it's not because of that one individual, it's because of how that branched and how that became something more than just one individual. Because the last thing I was thinking about when I walked into that gym and after that class was, oh, who started this? Right. I said, no, man, I just fell in love with something that's bigger than myself. Hmm. And so we can segue now into, why I wrote that 10-step de-affiliation process, because I mean, look, I'm working on my third year as a CrossFit affiliate, but I've been ingrained in CrossFit for many years. And it might be a totally different conversation for those who've been in it for longer than I have, but I've seen these 10 steps take place. I've thought about these 10 steps personally in my mind. I understand these 10 steps from a point of view. And what I wanted to do was I wanted to say, these are the reasons why people are leaving or have already left in the past. But I also wanted to say, like, I understand you. I understand why you may have left. But I also want to say I also want to look at things from two perspectives. Like, yes, you did this because of this. But what was your real reason why? Like, there's a why. And is that why articulate versus, like, really what you should have expected, and vice versa? So I wanted to put this out. I really thoroughly went through it because in the end, I'm seeing, I mean, we're all seeing this separation and de-affiliation, and from people who you might not want to hear it from, but you might want to, say, hey, like, I'm still with CrossFit, and it seems like they just are gone. And it's that to me says a couple of things. One, I understand why it's so important right now in our culture, in our life, and as CrossFit, like, that these people that are high up in this in general have to say, hey, I got to take a stand, because we're in something bigger than just CrossFit in general. We're in something that's big to culture around the world. And this is a part of that movement in a micro sense. But here's the way I look at it. Like I said from the beginning with COVID, like, do we take a breath? Do we really try to think about these things and then reflect on these things, and then we act? So these actions I came out with that I wrote were because of how I feel emotionally and loyal to CrossFit, but I also want people to start to think about that same thing as well. For example, like I put you in that group post and I made a follow-up with the 10 reasons why about how basically, like, I think some people in the higher ups could have reacted differently. I'm not saying it's wrong. I think it was essential. We need those higher ups so then when we make a statement, we just make it louder. But I feel that I'm not going to say abandon because we're still essentially independent, man. We're our own, man. We can make our own name to this thing, but I still want connection. I think we need to be connected instead of dividing in some way. And the one thing that did that is just that name CrossFit, man. It's just there's something so powerful to it that, I mean, like I said in one of my reasons, like, you know, it's the most powerful name in fitness history that has done something. And like I said today in my post, like, the gym is one way. If we look at this whole situation we're going through, it's one out of many ways, but an important way for me that we create commonality and we make real change.
So ready? Let's. So maybe I'll get a little conversation in and see where.
Sorry, I didn't mean to go off on a tangent there.
No. But this is perfect. This is perfect. This is conversation. This is how things happen. You understand what I'm saying? Because I think I made a statement, and I can only. So tell me where I fall in year 10 steps. Right? Been an affiliate, 2013. 2013. One, like, CrossFit meant a different thing to me. 2013, 14, 15, 16, I'm an athlete. You and I are in the same room with some of the top athletes in the sport, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was blind to what else CrossFit could be, right? I had a business, my business opened in 2013, but I was just doing me and I had a following and people were following me, right? It's when I took a step back from the athlete perspective, when I took more of a business approach and started to realize that there's more to this than the sport, right? So when I say that I've struggled with the word CrossFit for a very long time, my struggle began when, one, I associated CrossFit with the sport, and then two, the sport began to maybe affect my business in a negative way, right? CrossFit, only time I ever saw CrossFit in the public eye was on ESPN. Rich Froning, Jason Khalifa, Annie Thorsdottir, Elizabeth Akinwale. I can't do that. I'm a regular person. This is what the people are seeing on TV, right? So in the beginning, I spent a lot of time defending CrossFit in the sense of it's inclusive. We all can. And that was a fight. It even lost me business, right? So that's where my fight with the word CrossFit began. Then, as more of a business approach and understanding that we don't have a good perception for the regular person in the public eye. We have to, as individual business owners, I had to win these people over. I had to explain these people, like, listen, what you see on TV, the NFL is on TV, but we all play football, right? So that was always my argument, and that was the way I would get them in the door. Once you get them in the door, I think I've had enough confidence in my coaching and in my branding and my community to say, okay, well, this is what it is. Just like when you walk into that gym that day, I'm just like, wow, I'm part of something. But that initial, how many people didn't take that step? How many people didn't come to 1320 Delsey Drive and come into Suite E to Operation X because of what the idea that they had of the word CrossFit, right? Let alone for the people that came to me with an argument and already had a defense. So from that sense, that was another fight with CrossFit. Like, what are you doing for my business, CrossFit? I'm paying into you. How are you helping me get customers? I'm on an affiliate map. That affiliate map only helped me when somebody was traveling from Florida to say CrossFit near me that already did CrossFit and they're only going to be here for 3 days to get a drop in. Thank you, but that's not going to really help me sustain in my business. Mm-hmm. Fast forward to I think there's a group of us that have been in it for a long time, and it's just like, we're fed up, and I'm tired of defending. It's beautiful, bro. I hear you, and I feel the passion. It makes there's emotion in me right now. My belly gets weird. Like, there's tears in my eyes to say that CrossFit is the most beautiful thing on this planet. when it comes to fitness because of the community. But when the word becomes bigger than what it really is, where's the line, and what do you do? Because then I'm just expressing where I am right now. I made a statement. I'm finding it very hard. Maybe I could use better words. I'm finding it very difficult to associate the word CrossFit with ex-athletes. Everything what CrossFit really is that you and I know, that the people that are in the community, the people that have been a part of CrossFit for all this time, that I stand for. But bro, hey, CrossFit, can I get a commercial on the daily TV for people that look like you and I and a grandmom or a middle-aged, a soccer mom, like giving them the belief that they can do what at that time they only know the word CrossFit, and then get them into our local boxes? Where's that part? And that's what I haven't seen since in the last almost 8 years. And that's where I'm upset. Now we come out with these, now I got to defend Greg Glassman again. Listen, you know what's crazy? Greg Glassman is Greg Glassman. And Greg Glassman is the man we love, even when he made these statements that we don't agree with. We loved him when he was walking around the stage talking about everything that we agreed on and saying "fuck you" to the big man, to Coca-Cola and all that, right? It resonated with us because we agreed with him. It's like, yeah, I love his attitude. Well, he's still the same person. He just said something that we don't agree with, right? So I think for some of us, he says something that we don't agree with, and it was just a tipping point, right? I reading through here in our friend Sin, the Motion and Sin, reading through your 10 steps. It's just like, what do I do, man? What do I do?
Right, man. I think this is great. We're talking about this, connecting on this, man. I'll relate with you in terms of the defense of the word, because by the time I first started, I was in school. I was coaching full time as a CrossFit coach. I had to find myself defending the name in exercise science, where it was looked down upon so much by these professors and by these people in the NSCA and all these things. And it was so frustrating, man. I had to deal with people all the time, people coming in for on-ramps, and they were worried about getting injured and all these things that you have to defend because someone up top is not defending it for you, or they're defending it, but they're not defending it loud enough.
They're defending it on a level that is unseen, because that man has gone to bat for us as a human, like as a human race. He is trying to better us as a whole. Yes. But there's another. It's us being selfish.
There's another. Right. You're supposed to be, because you're running business, and again, it was their message. They were defending, but they weren't defending it loud enough to where your actual affiliates all around the world are getting any business from it. Because again, at that time when you started affiliating and all these things, like the sport was at its peak. And so how do we even separate that sport where people are seeing so much of, separate it from what it actually is? And how do we, and again, they did not show a loud enough voice, whether it's through marketing or other resources. This is number one of my steps, the lack of support, where you felt like it was a positive thing to actually, be actually someone that does CrossFit, be affiliated with CrossFit, run a business. It became a question in your head, like, this is a pain in the ass to defend. I'm sick of being that CrossFit guy in every class defending CrossFit, because I know how valuable it is and again, not just past the fitness level, but past the community level. Like, yo, you guys are not understanding. You're missing out. I wanted to do so much, and it got on my nerves. But here's the thing, right? Here's what happened. I took that, and now understanding as a business owner, because I'll still see that as a business owner as the same things that you're feeling. I took this negativity of what CrossFit is from people, or maybe what was not being handed down from higher up to make our businesses successful for the brand of CrossFit. And I took that in a way where before I took a leap, by the way, interesting fact, before actually my legal documents business-wise are Mad Fitness Performance, I did not sign my business as CrossFit MFP legally because I always had the thought in the back of my head is like, what if CrossFit shits the bed, or what if something happens, or vice versa? But I do business as CrossFit. So quick fact there. But what I took all of that was I said, I want to use this as fuel to my fire, to where I'm going to show you, somehow I'm going to show you that CrossFit is not the way you if we're just talking about outsiders and not HQ, I'll show you I'll show you. Trust, you come into my gym, I'll show you. You trust me. If you trust me, you invest in me, I'll show you that it's not, I'll make you the best version of yourself. I'll show you that what I do, that you could be a crazy, you can take your fitness to a whole nother level that you never even thought, doing things that you never even thought. I took that all as fire. Like, it upset me, and I was mad because I'm getting all this heat, and but I try to translate that negativity, and I try to put it out another way where it fueled me to like make my own meaning to CrossFit, because I knew what it was to its essence. But at the same time, I said, fuck that, man. I'm gonna show you I'm gonna show everybody what CrossFit really is. And you know what? If I don't get some marketing or anything because of that, then you know what? That's always how I've been. I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm like the Thanos in Marvel, man. Like, I'll just puts his hand in the gauntlet. Boom. I'll just do it myself. And but here's the thing though, right? I feel for everybody feeling that, man. They're feeling abandoned. It's like, where were we during COVID, man? Where was my stimulus check, right? Like, where's a month of rent, man? Like, you have all these affiliates pouring out your name and pouring out what you stand for. Like, how do you not see that? How do you not, you're a billion-dollar company, give them some money to like show them that you care about them. And that's why a lot of people like affiliate owners like you who have said, like, because again, number 10 was like, this was the last straw, man. Out of all those facts, this was the last straw. I can't take it anymore, man. I'm done. And people have already gone through that process of through rebranding and all these things where it's like, I don't know what else to do, man. I've tried everything for you, CrossFit. I tried everything for you, and it hurts, but I don't know. Like, Greg, you fucked it up, man. You just made me finally put my foot through the door and do it. One thing, again, like I said, to answer your question is like, you know, you're like, I'm torn up, man. I just said, you know what? I'm just going to create this new meaning. And like, yeah, like there's these steps, there's all those things like the method, the business model, the, you know, financial standpoint, the business owner standpoint, the disagreeing with Greg's standpoint. And I said, I'm just taking my own stand to where like, I'm forever loyal to this. And if there's going to be struggles, I'm willing to take it, but I'm going to make it better. So yeah, I've gone through those same struggles as you, man, as a business owner, where like, you know, there's a stigma. And I was just on a podcast the other week with these two guys, they're CSCS, strength conditioning, and like there's that divide with NSCA and CrossFit, man. I had to deal with that. And like, dude, I hated it, man. I hated it. It tore me up because it's like, yo, I love strength conditioning principles and methods, but I love CrossFit. Like, let's not hate, let's blend. Let's blend it together. Let's find a way, a solution instead of separating, and find a different way of, you know, integrating. And I tell them, like, they're asking me, like, the stigma, you know, what about CrossFit? And I'm like having to fucking explain myself for the 1,000th time, millionth time about how I feel about it.
Right.
And you know what? That just fueled me. I'm like, I'm just making my own way of, like, people see me and they're like, damn, like, you're doing things the right way. And it's like, it's not necessarily like the Glassman way. It's never been that. It's been the way I've been doing it, which is why people rebrand. Again, like I put in one point, like, you have other rebranding purposes because you want to just be your own thing. You want to be ex-athletics. That's actually who you are. Like, you're ex-athletics, man. You're not really like CrossFit Northwood, doing business as whatever. Like, that's a part of who you actually are. That's a branch. And I understand the concept of rebranding and making all these, like, you got your yoga, you got your fitness, you got, you know, your lifting, you got all these branches. Like, that's a smart, like, I understand business owners doing it, right? And I'm not knocking anything of that down. Like, we gotta look at the situation of, like, that is positive. But, like, what also brought you to that point? It was
CrossFit is the reason. CrossFit is why we're here, and that's why it's such a tear, man. It's such a tear, and I will admit, I made a knee jerk. I mean, I've been looking for a reason, right? And I think that was part of one in your steps. I'll tell you, I've been looking for a reason, and it was just like, Greg, I have to, because I've been having this conversation with myself and others for a very, very long time. What is CrossFit doing for me? But I haven't sat on this end of it. And I want to say thank you to you. I want to say thank you to you for bringing me back to what this is CrossFit, this conversation we're having right now. How do we save something? How do we save something? How many fundraisers have you been to? How many events have you gone to a box because somebody you don't even know, but you're affiliated with that box, and that one of their members is going through a struggle, and you're like, absolutely, I'm coming. I'm going to come. This is CrossFit, and I'm going to say thank you for bringing me back to that center, right? But I can't. Something has to be done, and that's what you're saying. There's got to be a solution. There has to be some type of way, and maybe it is we just stay in our own lane. Stay in your own lane. That's how part of this conversation started. Like, I'm in my own. I've always only done my own thing. I never worried about what any other CrossFit was doing or how they were doing it. That X, I don't think anyone that's ever has been around from today previous will ever look at that X and not think of CrossFit. So for that, I'm grateful, and I'll never not be a part of CrossFit. CrossFit is who I am. CrossFit is how and why I got here, right? I give all that credit to it. But is there a line that has been like when? Because they don't need me. They don't need you. They're going to move on. You see, they're going to rebrand it, and now they put Dave in head, and that's almost exactly what I was trying to get away from. Like, you're going to put a sport-oriented games guy in the seat of, or the head of CEO. Is he going to take it more into the sport direction, or is he going to take it into the affiliate direction? Like, what is the action? What is the course of action, and are they taking the right steps?
Man, I'll keep going on top of that, man, because listen, just for the first thing, man, I want to be here to, you know, again, we're here to converse, we're here to talk. I don't want you to feel like you got to change your mind on anything, because what you did was right. That's the thing. Like, I'm not pointing fingers at people and saying, like, there's a right and wrong way to do it, man, because of all those factors that built in. Like, we gotta know, like, people can't judge from like, you've been through things different than other people. And one point I made with my other post after the 10 steps was like, could we have done another way where, like, the way you and I feel about CrossFit is so deep in a way where, like, hey, CrossFit, we're all taking a goddamn stand, man. We're done with this shit. Out of all those 10 steps, and then you got steps 8 and 9 where Greg Glassman you fucked it, man. You just made that straw, and thank you for that, because we needed that. And now it's time for us to say, hey, CrossFit, this is your last straw. Here's your stand. You don't stand for all that shit. You obviously support the cause of in the world of what's going on right now. But I want solution one. I want solution two. I want this solution, this. And again, like I tagged Tim Paulson because he made those solutions very clear of like actual thought out steps that will actually take us in the direction that we want to go. That we've been asking for these 8 years, right? And hey, if you don't meet this, by then we give you an option. We give you an opportunity to change. And then if you don't change, then I'm out of here.
Right.
That's, I think, the right way we should all approach. I think that's the right way. I think that's what we all want, right? We're all in the same lane, man. We're all in the same lane. Some people wanted to just make a statement so quickly because they're feeling the way we feel. But that's the actual way I think that we're all thinking about it, right? So in that sense, like, for example, like my affiliates held on until next February. Like I'm going to stay CrossFit MFP. I'm going to hold on to this. And I want these solutions by this time, man. Like if you don't give me a solution, if you don't show that you're actually going to take the steps that we all want, then I think it's fair to say, well, I signed as Mad Fitness Performance, then I'm going to have to leave this and I'm going to have to move on. And I think the people that are 100% on it, like in their mind, they're not, I guess they were never as loyal to CrossFit or felt the way I felt maybe. I don't know. Or maybe they're just so heartbroken and done. Like you feel that it's just like, you know what? It's not going to change anything if I leave or if I don't.
Right.
And that's okay. That is okay, man. It's like, I know what I want to hold on to. I know how I want to put a new meaning to it. I know how I want to rebuild it. If I don't see any change or solutions, I think there's going to be a high chance that I'm going to leave and I'm going to de-affiliate, but I'm not I'm not going to say a definite because I want to think rationally through this and I want to actually reflect and see if actually something happens.
Right.
I'm not, and again, like I put in one of the steps, like I'm not worried about holding that name right here, CrossFit. I'm not worried about people looking at that and going, man, he supports Greg Glassman. He must be a racist.
Right.
I'm not worried about that shit, man. You know what? I'll tell you what, man. Again, this is why you might not need the name. I'll say 92% of this gym walks in and they only see one person. They see me.
Right.
You know what I mean? They don't think Greg Glassman.
And one I'm reading a book, The Four Agreements, and the first agreement is don't take things personal. And I know I took those statements personal, and now being able to sit back, reflect, hear from some people, and really do some math, and just to reflect. And like you're saying, CrossFit is CrossFit to our people. It is what we've made it to our people. I had so many messages like, hold on, what do you mean? What's an affiliation? Who's Greg? Like, there's an HQ. I had someone tell me, oh, I thought CrossFit was just like yoga. It was just a word that, you know what I mean? And like, when I heard that, my heart broke because I was like, the general population doesn't even care what I'm caring about right now. You know what I'm saying? They don't know what a Greg Glassman is. They don't even know there's an HQ. All they know is they come to 7 Railroad Lane and there's this big X on the wall where all these people are having a great time when we're doing fitness, right? So in a sense, I'm equally on both sides after time of reflection. It's like, well, we're just doing CrossFit. But then I'm also like, I don't need the word because people don't even know what CrossFit is. All they know is they know X Athletics and Coach Lee. So it's like, to put a timeline on it, I'm not writing a letter to CrossFit HQ and saying them, hey, evaluate my website and make sure I don't break any of your rules and using your, like, I'm here. I paid till October. I'll be here till October, right? And when October comes, what have you guys done since the time that I've been really upset and I'm over the edge till the time that, why should I give you another $3,000 to use your word if there's a part of me realizing that it's not necessary, and I don't like, help me, dude.
I know. I agree, man. I feel so hard with you, bro. And one thing I don't want to let go to, and I don't have a solution for, is the one thing that name does and has done, man. It has created a serious amount of commonality between people, and that's my big word, commonality, right now. I'm saying it because right now I think we all need that with what the world is going through this movement. And what we need to realize is like that, I just don't know how the word cross, like it brought something so common. Like it wasn't like we were in the gym together and it was like, now you do X gym and Mad Gym. It's like, now we did this, like we can say it, but like it was just branded on us that like it made us feel so connected in a sense. Like again, maybe when we were together, like working at the same time, like we were competitive, like we were working against each other, like in a workout, but like we're there in that, and we don't need the name. I know we don't need the name. I know I don't need the name, but something about that it's hard for me to let go, knowing of how much commonality it brings to the world.
And you don't, that's not a figure of speech. Literally, the world. If you speak the same language and you say the word cross, you walk across in the airport with someone, you both have a CrossFit shirt on, you both have Metcons, you have on Reebok Nanos. There is a moment, even if there's no word spoken, there is a moment of like, he gets it, she gets it. And that's where it gives me goosebumps right now, that I can't, like, that's what I bought into.
Right. And that's what I'm afraid of losing. I mean, I'm okay to say like I'm afraid of that. Like I'm not afraid about my business. I'm not afraid about any of that. I'm afraid about how deep that word is in a sense of like, just like you said, man, like you're in that goddamn grocery store and you see those Metcons or you see those Nanos on their feet.
And you get excited like a little kid.
Yes.
Because it's just like, dude, me too.
It's like we're the same, right? Listen, that person could be an Indian, that person could be black, that person could be Latino, white, Hispanic. That person could actually internally be racist, and you could be someone else. But guess what?
We do CrossFit.
You guys, there's something you won't be able to take that away from you both. So that's what I'm afraid of losing, man. And look, if it does go away, it is what it is. But it's worth, for me, it's worth making a stand for and trying to rebuild and put a meaning to it. And if they fail at HQ or higher up, if they don't make the steps, I'm not going to say I won't be surprised, but it'll still hurt even a little bit more because of what I hoped it could be.
Yeah. I mean, in my heart, I can say I think I know. Like, I think this is. I read something somewhere. It was like, there's arguments and there's family matters. Like, this is just a family matter that we're going through, right? Hey, CrossFit, let's stand up together. Hey, CrossFit, if we have you got a problem with HQ, here's what we demand. So we're the people, right? We're the affiliates, we're the people. It's just like what's going on in this world right now. The people are standing up and the people are demanding change. Whatever that change looks like, I don't know if they will satisfy our needs, but nothing can ever be taken away from that word CrossFit. Especially not one man's word.
No, it's not. It's never going to go away. It's so deep. It's never going to go away.
So deep.
It just hurts to know like what could it actually be if all these solutions were taken. Like how goddamn powerful it could have been, man. Even if they made this, man, years ago. they probably didn't. They probably weren't even ready for how big this was going to be, man. Like, because Greg, I guess understanding Greg, man, the guy's got such a hard motive on what he wants with this health thing, and I did appreciate the change of like from sport to health and trying to make a new meaning of like how it was branded out there. And like that guy, I guess he's so goddamn stubborn on what he wants. He's not thinking about what should have been done.
Or he knows, right? Or he understands maybe we need to sit back and watch, because in 2005, no one heard what he was saying. Look what it's turned into. 2006, you know what I'm saying, in the beginning. And maybe his plan is bigger than what we can even understand and fathom in this moment, because 10 years from now, it'll be exactly what we need it to be, everything we want it to be. Maybe it will be on the TV, and every aunt and uncle does feel comfortable saying, hey, you do CrossFit? I do CrossFit too. And maybe that fear of the word does disappear, and we don't have to defend it so much. Maybe all the defending we've done up until this time is for a better reason. I'm just trying to have a different, more calm, settled aspect and look on it, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. And that's the way we should try to look at it. It's not. I can't blame anybody for reacting a different way. But I think in the long run, it's always good that we just take a breath, we think, we try to connect like we're doing right now. I mean, this is like the third call I've had with an affiliate owner with the past 24 hours because I'm putting all this content out there, and they're like, hey, like exactly what you said, man. Like, yo, this is making me feel a certain way. Like, I got to talk about it.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I'm torn up, man. Like talking, like right now, man. I'm not gonna say hate because that's not the right word. It's just with social media, man, and the phone, like this thing right here, man. It's valuable for a cause right now in the world. It's valuable. By the way, best team right here. It's valuable for the change that we want. But there's also something here, man, that this takes away what we're doing right now, and I want to, I don't know. I want to keep it. I want to try to make solutions. Like I said this morning, man, like I said, when it just comes to, the movement we're in as a world, like real change, man, like you don't got to read a book. You don't need to let I understand why you're all on the same page, man. We just listen for a second, man. Just take a step back and listen. Let Black culture have their moment and let them speak and listen before you want to react on something. Let them speak how they feel, hear it, and then make your reaction how you want to make it. But in the meantime, what we can do is we can find commonality, try to walk in their shoes for a little bit, and vice versa. They should walk. It's got to be on both sides. Like I looked at a tweet or a post from Tyron Matthew from my squad, man, and it comes from both ends. We all got to be this together. It can't just be them. They got to work. It's got to be the protesters got to work together with and walk in the law enforcement shoes, and vice versa. Like law enforcement has to walk in their shoes. Like we have to make changes where like we find commonality, and we just the golden rule, bro, is treat others the way you want to be treated, and that's how we actually make a day-to-day change. Little steps,
It plays right into it right now. Like I'd say my motto, I say my thing is like, what are you doing on a daily basis? What are you doing every single day? And does what you're doing on a daily basis coexist and align with what your goals are, right? And what you're saying is, what can we do today, this conversation, to make a change for that word CrossFit? I'm listening to you. I hear you, brother. I hear you. Keep fighting a good fight. And it's like, anybody that's on the fence, where can they find you? How can they set up any conversation with yourself?
Man, at this point, man, just go slide into the DMs or something. Facebook, Instagram, I guess. I hate saying it, but listen, I'm going to give my phone number. It's 484-680-5885. And if you are someone feeling the same way, man, I just put my number out there. I said, guys, call me. Like, let's just talk instead of just texting, or like, let's just try to have a conversation, because I feel like we can actually express our emotions a little bit better, much better in a certain way, and we can just have a positive interaction as well.
Yeah.
You know, we're not looking at this at a right and wrong way. You know, no one's in the wrong here. We're all in the same, like I said, we're all in the same thing. We're all in this together, but talking is important. So I just realized that as I made, all these posts out and everything, I'm just trying to connect. So.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you connecting with me. And I know I got a small audience that's going to hear your voice in a different light than they hear mine. And I think as little as we may not be on the same page right now, I think we're on the same page. And I think you can connect with me.
We're all on the same page. And look, man, whatever you do, it's not wrong, man. It's okay. It's okay if you do. Like, I don't want people that de-affiliate. Like, when I've been making these statements, I'm not saying de-affiliating is wrong, because I said in every one of those calls that I said, I feel you. I understand exactly why you're doing it.
Right.
For me, I'm just taking this in a way personally where, like, that's just fuel to my fire, man. That just fuels me to, like, put a whole new name to this brand that I felt like is so powerful. So, I don't know. And again, I'm just reflecting, and it could change February 1st, 2021. We're after renew. And if it is what it is, then everything happens for a reason. Everything is there's a reason for everything in the world, man, on a spiritual sense.
Yeah. Wrapping it up, and now we're here, right? I think we'll reconnect in a later time and speak on this subject and whatever's going on in the world and figure out how we got there at that time. Again, Marco, owner of CrossFit MFP, I thank you.
Thanks, man. I appreciate you being on this. This is important, man.
Absolutely. All right, so